Very exciting time. Of course, we're keeping a focus, aren't we, on 16 days of activism. We've got to talk about GBV. There's a number of issues that are affecting women and girl children in our country. And luckily, we have someone who's championing the whole thing for us. And it's such a pleasure as well to welcome back once again to the show, Shudufhadzo Musida. It's almost like you're a co-anchor. I feel like we need to get you your own...
Yes.
I think this should be my permanent chair. When I came here, I'm like, it's actually been a while.
It's been a while since we last saw you. How you been?
I've been good. I've been good. How have you been?
I've been great. Great to see you. You come bearing good news.
Yes.
Championing, of course, for women's rights. You've now partnered with the UN. You are the UNFP regional champion. What does that mean for you? What does it mean for the work that now lies ahead for you?
It means everything, because I mean, when I entered Miss South Africa, it was to partner with organizations that can make a structural change and to be recognized and to partner with the United Nations Population Fund as a regional champion for East and Southern Africa means more work. The work that I've been doing in the mental health space and now for the rights of women and girl children gets to be expanded, but also brings visibility, especially for the youth, to know that more work needs to be done and no one can be left behind, especially now during 60 days of activism, which I believe needs to be more than just 16 days because we've been facing this time and time again, and it's time for us to actually come up with practical solutions. But we can't do that. We are the voices. So we need to engage private stakeholders, government, to make a structural change.
Do you get the sense, now that you've moved into a champion position, because Tumelo and I spoke about this every time 16 days of activism comes around, I always get the sense it's a bit of a talk shop. There's a focus on it for 16 days, and then the world sort of just moves on again. How do we stop it being just a talk shop? When you say do something practical, like what?
No, I think it's making sure that there is, from a justice system perspective, that there is actually work that's being done. I mean, I've been a part of many 16 days of activism conversations, and I was having a conversation with someone from the New York office, and I said to them, I think it's time for us to actually start trying to figure out what those practical solutions are. Because, I mean, how many stories have we heard of women going to report abuse, you know, and getting there and not finding help and being shamed? We've seen it online, we've seen it in many respects where women are not believed, women are not heard. We see it, we hear it, but I don't think we're listening enough, you know. And I think we can only do so much, but I think with this role as a youth representing not only the youth of South Africa, but of the East and Southern African region, it's important for all of us to speak up, but also demand practical solutions and engage not only government or private stakeholders, but us as a community. It starts in our communities, it starts in our households. But before we go out, we need to start in our own households, in our own communities. So it's not just my role. I'm just merely a representative, but it's we all have a responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going through the profile, and I understand that, you know, over and above the rights of women, girls and youth, you'd be contributing to Africa's Agenda 2063, right?
Yeah.
The Sustainable Development Goals and UNFPA's 3 transformative results. I want to read out to our viewers because they're quite important. Ending preventable maternal death, ending unmet need for family planning, and ending gender-based violence and harmful practices. And I just wonder, Shudu, do women, not only in South Africa, but SADC, where you'd be doing most of your work in, do they know the human rights? Do they understand them in their language? Do they speak about them during the dinner table at home with their friends in their communities, rural areas, townships? Or is it more of a media, television conversation in urban areas? Do you think more women understand what their rights are?
Do you know, as you were reading that, and also in the conversation we were having yesterday, information. Lack of access to information. Access to information is so important.
Which is a basic human right.
Which is a basic human right. I mean, as we were having the conversation, like some of the things I was reading, and when I met with them earlier this year, you get to realize how big the world is, you know, and how we cocooned and we're so privileged to have access to information. But this is just a privileged few. But women and girl children do not know their rights. They do not know that they know that they can say no, they can demand their basic human rights, they can speak up for their basic human rights. But the thing is, we are championing for it, we are demanding for it, but this should be something that is in it, that this is something that they should know from a young age. But I think the way the world and the societal structures are set up right now, women and girl children don't know their rights. So when we speak about gender-based violence, when we speak about women's rights, when we speak about human rights, it needs to be a gender equal conversation, not just one that is only focused on women. We need to equal out the playing field, because gender equality is a big conversation. It's Sustainable Development Goal 5, and it's a big conversation, because once we tackle that, then we are ensuring that girl children, women, know their human rights, not just their rights as women, but their human rights.
And there's a lot we're going to talk about, as Shudu very kindly is going to spend most of the hour with us this morning. When we talk about GBV, we're going to talk about poverty, we're going to talk about teen pregnancy, HIV, mental health, drug abuse, so much of that. And sadly, we're not even talking about just a SADC region, in terms of we're talking just locally as well. So we're going to come back with Shudu in a couple of minutes from now. And I do obviously want to talk about where you grew up, Hamasia village, of course, and what you experienced as a youngster as well, real life experience we can talk about. Any tweets, anything that you would like to hear from Shudu regarding this issue, you can tweet us at ENCA. You can also tweet me directly at Gareth Edwards SA. You're not back on Twitter yet, are you? You're still boycotting it?
Oh, no.
Even with
my mental health.
Even with Elon Musk, you're not doing it.
You left. He's,
Mental health.
Been peaceful ever since.
So I take the abuse for both of us. So at Gareth Edwards SA on Twitter, at ENCA, Shudufhadzo Musida with us for most of the hour. Get your tweets through. We'll read through a few of those a little bit later for you.